Hello Taurus, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for November for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to share with you the major strands to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all the key dates and influences particularly relevant to your sign. Now, right at the start of this month, your relationship sector is really lit up. And the reason for that is that your ruler Venus is very close to the Sun through the first 10 days. This can be particularly influential if you're hoping to meet somebody new or you're dealing with any kind of relationship issue, and it doesn't need to be just in a personal context. Your work and professional links are also highlighted this month. Of course, there is that total lunar eclipse in your sign on the 8th, so I can't wait to share that with you too. And then later this month, Jupiter does end its retrograde, but in your sector of the future and of your friendships. Ideal timing in terms of the Christmas party season, and as the month comes to a close, this also is going to augment the already ongoing brilliant link between Jupiter and Pluto, and I can tell you about that too, which is very much about expansion, but in a way that gives you a greater sense of certainty around certain associations and hopes. So please stay with me for all of that. If you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you beyond this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your year 2023 forecast, the rest of year 2022 free, plus your personal roadmap, your life guide, your character analysis, which can give you so much important data. We all have patterns that get repeated in our life. This will help you to understand those, but also how to embrace your full potential. And in my special package, the 30% off. Please see the link below for more. Finally, if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. But if you are an ongoing viewer, thank you so much for all your views. It really is appreciated. So Taurus, as you come into November, so the Sun and Venus and Mercury are all lined up in your opposite sign. What does the 7th house represent? Well, in traditional astrology, it's known as being the sector of open enemies. So in other words, it's where we need to compete. But this is particularly important as far as the Sun's concerned. So it's where we need to set our boundaries. It's also about where we might want to bring about more collaborative efforts. And Venus, of course, can be enormously helpful. Venus in the 7th house can be pretty lucky because it governs the sign of Libra, along with your sign, which is very much that 7th house energy. So Venus and the Sun combining through the first 10 days really can give you the way and wherewithal of expressing yourself or attuning to others that can be very helpful indeed. Now Mercury's there as well. Mercury in Scorpio gives us the opportunity to investigate things in a deep way, to pick over the details, but it also encourages us to improve our listening skills. But there's no getting away from it. The total lunar eclipse, which occurs on the 8th, doesn't just provide a backdrop of energy for the rest of this month, it's for the next 6 months too. And because it's also activating that right angle between Saturn and Uranus, which has been so prevalent over the last couple of years, it really can be a time when the people who inhibit you from really expressing yourself or finding the level of personal satisfaction in all sorts of ties, whether it's familial, with friendships, with colleagues, with bosses, with customers, or crucially in those more intimate ties. I think if there are any politics around those areas, the fact that Venus is so closely tied to the Sun suggests that I feel that you will do everything you can to try to reach some kind of accord. But if someone is not responsive to your overtures, I think that right angle between Saturn and Uranus could see you push back. Now, it may not happen within this month specifically, but you're putting in motion here an influence that can work very deeply within your situation. Also, Jupiter, the planet of growth, in its rulership of Sagittarius, is also the ruler of Pisces. And here it's very much more to do with the spiritual dimension. And it is in retrograde through to the 23rd, but it's forging a very influential link with Pluto. Now, Pluto in the 9th house since 2008 has been pushing you to explore and be more open-minded, to travel both in mind and body. And because you have a real appreciation of routine and structure, that may have been something that you have resisted at times. But since Uranus joined you full-time since 2019, of course you had a 5-month taste of it in 2018, that's also added a kind of greater attention but need to liberate yourself from something that's not giving you great satisfaction. So really this eclipse, along with the Jupiter-Pluto transformational aspect, and it is very transforming, could see you make some key decisions this month or put in motion plans that will realise your hopes further down the track. However, it could be as soon as this month. I should say that despite the gorgeousness of the Sun's combination with Venus, in week 2 the Sun is checked also by Saturn and Uranus, and that means Venus will be as well. So if there is a weak relationship, no amount of diplomacy is going to create a veneer from the reality. So the reality of your relationships, good or bad, are really going to become much more clear and transparent to you. Now on the 16th and 17th, your ruler Venus, first of all, and then Mercury move together into the deep 8th house. Now this is ironic because they're leaving Scorpio, but the 8th house for you is a very Scorpionic energy, whereas Venus and Mercury in Scorpio for you is very much more a Libran energy. So you can see that with the Scorpio vibe, the Scorpio seasonal vibe, and this 8th house energy, you're going to be diving deep this month, but particularly around your relationships. Now the 22nd sees the Sun move into Sagittarius, but then we have the new moon on the 23rd, which sees also Venus in an exact combination with Mercury. That could trigger some kind of good fortune for you. Now I know the financial reality we're all dealing with, and that's something that also is going to be a big part of this month's conversation and reality, and also about the things that we're all needing to grapple with. However, this energy coming in with this new moon towards the end of this month could see you actually enjoy a stroke of fortune that can really delight you. Of course, Jupiter goes direct on the same day. It is going to be coming back into your 12th house on the 20th of December, but for now it is in your sector of the future, of friendships, your highest hopes. So the more idealistic side of your nature can link together with your philosophies where Pluto is. So people who really help you to see a bigger picture, to see a way of progressing that gives you hope and inspiration, those people are going to be incredibly important to you this month. The big catch this month is that Mars in your sector of everyday finance is in a very distorting right angle with Neptune throughout the spine of the month. So as much as some people may lift your spirits, inspire you and excite you, someone else could desperately disappoint you, and it could be down to a financial situation. This is not a month to be speculative. So even though there is that gorgeous new moon on the 23rd, Jupiter going direct, and Venus and Mercury coming together in a way that you could benefit from someone else's generosity, or perhaps some kind of benefits can come to you in terms of a legacy or a gift or a reward for past work in a business environment. I think the square between Mars and Neptune is saying marshal your resources with a great deal of attention to detail, because Neptune can distort, and it can also be to do with information. Mars, however, in the second house is very much to do with our desire, and the second house can be quite lusty. So just be conscious of that, whether it is in a romantic dimension or it is physically around money. For example, if a friend asks you for some kind of financial support, that's not to say you should say no, but just get in place something you both feel comfortable with in terms of a repayment plan. I wouldn't let your spiritual desires to be a good egg crush your realism. But at the same time, this is a good month to listen carefully, to attune yourself to other people's needs, but also to set those boundaries. So if you've been a giver in the past, you've been very generous, and it's not always been appreciated or recognised, this is not a month to continue that modus. It's a month to become cannier about how you defend your position. But at the same time, I think professionally, if you do feel very undervalued or under rewarded or under recognised or under appreciated, I think you could start to look for new opportunities, and some kind of transformation can show itself towards the end of this month. But relationships generally are going to be a very hot topic for you over the next 6 months, Taurus.